Welcome to Bear Lifestyle, the podcast where we speak up and speak out about all taboo topics and make them normal and acceptable. You are invited to be curious, to try something new, and stay open to provocative perspectives. I'm your host, Simona Spark, a best-selling author, international speaker, transformational coach, and so many other things. Beyond anything else, I'm a woman who stopped following other people's rules and started creating my own. In this space, we are going to get naked by stripping away insecurities, self-judgments, and all kinds of limitations so we can reach in for the essence of who we really are Bear. Beautiful, authentic, real, and ever evolving. Thanks for listening. Welcome back. Welcome back. I am so happy that you are here. For those of you that you are returning to this beautiful space, welcome back. And for those of you that you land here for the first time, I am so happy that you found me and you found this space where, as I said in the intro description, our intention is to address all taboo topics and talk about the things that most want. So, as usual, I am celebrating myself, celebrating you, everyone who listens and watch this. Today, I'm celebrating with passion fruit tea. Celebration, everyone. I choose the passion fruit tea just to be in alignment with the topic of today's episode. As today, I would like to talk with you about passion and connection in relationships, of course. So I'm curious what passion is for you. Please leave it in the comments, or as usual, most important is to get to that answer for yourself. Write it down, what passion is for you, and then what connection means to you in a relationship. And when I say relationship, I'm thinking in all kind of relationships, right? Romantic or parenting relationships, or relationship with friends, with coworkers, with employers, with employees and such. But today I want to stop at the romantic relationship, right? Because when we say passion, most likely, most of us, we are thinking like sex, right? And when I say relationship, most of us, we are thinking romantic relationships. So that is the space where I want to stop today, not as an expert or not at all, but just coming from a perspective, just sharing with you like my own evolution into this space, and see what pieces are resonating with you, or hopefully, anyway, that's my intention, to just trigger some parts of you, just to stop them from going on a path that somebody else told us that we should go, and just stop for a minute and think about if that's the direction you want to go, or you might want to choose something else. And we talk a little bit about, choosing new beginnings in a previous episode. So if you haven't listened to that, I will recommend you to give it a listen. So here's what I discovered. Once upon a time, right? Many years ago, I learned the sex is not the most important thing in a relationship. So, and I truly believe that. And, most of us, especially those that we are not raised with a education in this space, or not even to mention about the confidence that to be in this space, or have a conversation about sex and sexuality and such, among all the insecurities, right? this part in my life has been something that I believe that is not so important. You know, you find somebody, you like somebody, you are in a committed relationship, you marry that person, create a family. And sex is something like, yeah, I want it to be good, but it's okay if it isn't. And it's something that you do because you're supposed to be doing. And, you know, it's weekend, so we might have sex. All right, anybody that resonates with that? And then, you know, somewhere along the way, I grow up and I learn that the sex gets to be good and gets to be pleasurable and really explore the passion of it, like being passionate about it, right? And life happened and destroyed that part and went through different sexual traumas that I talk about it in my book. So if you haven't read my book, please find it in the description, Raising My Voice, The Memoir of an Immigrant. I'm going into the details of the sexual trauma and healing this sexual trauma. And the healing part was only possible when and after I actually decided to look at this piece, right? And looking in that piece, it also helped me to connect with the right person that, knowing or not knowing, helped me to feel safe in this space. To get into a point where finally I get to not only enjoy it, but actually explore it and ask for it and expand it and explore different aspects and different angles, right? So what I learned in that experience was a distortional version of what connection is, because as I learned and I decided and now believe it, that the sex is a very important component in a relationship, in a romantic relationship. As soon as I discovered that is good and there is amazing, and especially at the first date, which was such a big no-no up until that point, right? I thought like, this is it. This is the relationship that I want to be in. And I was. I remember, oh my God, wasn't Einstein? Maybe it was not Einstein. I don't know who was it. I didn't do my homework here. It said that I don't know what the question is, but the answer is sex. And think about it. How many times we hear and maybe even believe when they say whatever is happening is going to be solved in the bedroom, right? Like there is a saying that becomes a belief for so many, right? And so what I learned in that relationship is like what I decided in that experience, like, oh my God, we dated, we have amazing sex, like this is it, this is the person, right? Because if that's so good and extraordinary, then everything else is gonna work out. The word is work. The word work, because sooner or later I found myself into a space, like both of us, like that we need to work through things. And it got to the point where, you know, you don't want to work. You want it to be just easy and, you know, flowing. And I know it might sound like dreamy and, you know, life is hard and all the things, but it had me wonder, like, does it really has to be hard? Is it possible to just be with someone and just have it at all? So if you've been following me for a while, and not necessarily in this podcast because I just started, you know, last year, but through my trainings or courses that I teach, and I always let people in, and I'm always being transparent about where I'm at on my personal path, right? For the past 3 years, just as a single woman, I really look at this piece starting from this question: do I get to have it all? And then it got moved into, I want to have it all. Even though when I said that for the first time, it felt unrealistic. But as I was exploring this area of my life through dating, to different very short-term relationships, right? The beauty of it was, first of all, I was genuinely interested in connecting with another person by taking a genuine interest in who they are, what they do, how they feel, how they think. And what was beautiful about it is that with every date that I went to, I just find out more and more about myself. And I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to be on this journey of self-discovery, and especially really zooming in on own sexuality, right? If you know me at all, I like to focus, and I said in the last episode, focus on like what was the last turning point in my life. So when I'm looking, exploring, and wanting to grow in my romantic relationships, the turning point was 3 years ago, right after my last divorce. And I did and still do a lot of intentional work, looking at, keep discovering more micro components of this, right? Like, what is a real connection? How would I know that this is the right person to date or to be with? Who do I commit with? And like, don't get me wrong, I met some amazing people, right? Like good people, but the full connection was not there. And not that I could put my finger on it to tell you like what was missing. Sometimes it's obvious what's missing, but most of the time it's not. And I learned how to trust myself to say no, to trust myself to walk away from a wonderful person based on feeling that I need to compromise a part of myself, or a part of what I really want, or my desires, and so on. When the old version of myself will be like, okay, you don't get to be selfish, perfect doesn't exist, all the saying, and just be okay and settle, right? So at this time I was no rush, and I am in no rush, but I look closer to the connection part. And here's the truth. I realized that I didn't fully, truly know what a deep connection is. So I started exploring that. And I really wanted to just like take a piece of paper and I asked you for the beginning what connection means to you. And I want to invite you to just dissect that in a little pieces, like what makes you feel connected. Could go as simple as, a good hug, right? And you just feel you connect with that person. Sometimes, I don't know you, right? So I'm going to talk about my experience and see where you resonate. I connect with people through sense of humor, or listening to the same music, or hobbies are very easy surfacing connectors, right? Oh, we both like to paint, or we both go, training for marathon. So whatever the case might be. So just get curious and see what was the thing that connect you with people that you have in your life, or what are the things that usually you connect with new people when you meet new people. So that has been my journey for the past 3 years, like really focusing on this. And then when it's coming to passion and sex and romantic relationship, I was still in a space where, as I say earlier, like if this is good, everything else is going to work out. And then I look at the pieces like, what are the things that need to work out, and how can I grow and expand and approach those pieces in a way that I don't need to work, because who wants to work? Like the expression alone, when they say, well, we work on this marriage, we work on this relationship, it's like our brain, it's immediately sending some signals in our body that it's going to take effort and it's going to take time. So probably subconsciously, we are already having the resistance. All right. So then I come up with this concept because, like in anything else, for me, personal, and that's the way that I teach in any course and any trainings, is to knowing that the brain is the one that doesn't like change. The brain will be the one that is going to stop us first for going to in a new direction, for new things and such. So my first step every time I have a new desire or I want to try something new when I'm dealing with change is finding the way to enroll the brain into the conversation and be part of my team so I could eliminate that resistance. So we are all on board, right? My idea, my brain, my heart, my soul, we are all going. And that's why I like to work with metaphors, right? So I could kind of explain it piece by piece to my brain and put some logic into the desire that my heart and my soul have, right? Like desire don't have logic. They just have feelings and emotions, but the brain needs logic in order to understand what the hell is she doing and where is she going now? And most importantly, how can I support her, right? So the way that I look at connection is like living into this little bubble, for example, when I say earlier, like when we hug somebody and it's just a good hug, right? We have like a good connection. So that's a very close bubble, like it's actually touching your body. And to extend a little bit on that in this example is like, that's what's happening when we have a great sexual experience, right? Oh, we are connected, it was amazing. And now imagine that we increase this bubble, right? And it's something that we have like with our children or parents or good friends, right? We are feeling connected even though we are not touching each other. So the energy that we emanate is big enough and also theirs that energetically we are connected. Or did you ever experience like you are thinking of somebody, maybe they live miles away, 100 miles away across the world, and then you just get an email from them or a text or something? It's a connection. Of course, that got me thinking, like we get to expand this bubble like all the way to the infinity, right? And I don't want to get into the quantum physics here, but imagine this, because we want to enroll the brain, remember? Imagine that we could expand so much energetically at so many levels, and as much as we expand, we get into the levels that our brain cannot even understand. And the tendency, again, to remind you, is it just want to stop us because it's new and it's change. But if the other person, it's in the same space, then we get to connect somewhere in the sky, in the universe, in the space. I don't know. All I know is that I feel and I believe that that's possible. And this is a concept that it's been validated to me, when I dive into human design and gene keys. So if you follow those, there is a lot of teachings about those bodies of energy. And again, the way I could make sense and logic out of it to my brain, so I will enroll my brain into going where I'm going, is just this bubble that is just increasing, it getting bigger and bigger and bigger, to the point like I don't know how big, I don't see the edge of it, but I believe that is there. And I also don't need to know exactly where that margin is. So now let's get back to the passion and connection, because that was something that it finally synced for me a week ago or so. And I'm sharing this with you because you might already be there. And I want you to take a step back to look at the pieces and the components and really appreciate, be grateful for, and get curious how you could just lock them in, integrate them, and even expand it moving forward in your life. And if you're not there, to get curious if this applies to you. But don't take it as a lesson. I'm not here to teach you anything, right? I'm here to ask the question, to give you different perspectives. And what I really, really, really want for you is to take those things and contemplate of them and get curious, not even how this applies to you, but get curious how this could be yours. What is it that you need to modify, adjust, so it makes sense to you, and then apply that, right? So many people that I know, and even in conversation with private clients in a coaching practice, conversation with close friends, and myself included, we jump on this conclusion of like, oh my God, we are so connected because the sexual experience was good, right? Could be a simple date. Because as you know, if you follow this for the beginning, I've been into a erotic relationship, and I was fully connected and was exactly what I needed at that time and for that period of time while on this journey, right? But I got to the point when I stepped back and I wonder what other connection is there, and I couldn't find much. So that got me wonder, how do we know? And if you just, you passionate and the experience is absolutely amazing, fireworks and all, how do you know that you're really connected, or you just simply, you have a good time, right? Because both get to be true, but how do we know? So that's what I bring the bubble metaphor into the conversation, into my contemplation and this curiosity, like, oh, what the hell happened? Right? Because I got into the point like, oh my God, what the hell happened? And I started looking at the pieces, or like, the connection gets to be just right here in a personal space, and it's amazing. Or get to be beyond this, like these two people with multiple bubbles as big and as large all the way through, through the stars. If all of them are connecting, even though we are just right here and it's all we could see and feel, that actually there is other connection beyond this room, this space. I don't even know if this lands well. It's very clear in my mind, and it's the best way that I could explain it, and just sit with it for a minute, right? And as much as I want to focus on a romantic relationship, because that's how I experienced it, like a week ago. Because, you go in a conversation and it's like all these coincidences. It's like, oh my God, me too. Oh, I can't believe it. Really? I say the same. I do the same. So what that is coming from, because it's not coming from this particular experience when we are just right here in the room. It's coming from connecting another level, like at a bigger distance, right? Even through time, like going back into the past when you just find so many things that you have done and have you wonder like how, we might cross paths, not necessarily in the same geographical space. I've been doing this and you've been doing that, and we have been doing the same thing, living in two different lives, even on two different continents, right? So it was a connection. And just between me and you, right? I feel like that's valid for the future too. Like, I truly believe that we could connect it in the past. I truly believe that the real connection in the present goes beyond what we could see and feel. And that makes it a real connection that is beyond the current passional moment, right? Today, swear to you, I'm saying this for the first time, I believe that if a relationship could only last as long as our futures are already connected, like today. Like, how big is this bubble? How far does it go in time and space? Is it go as far as 3 years? As it goes as far as 30 years? Does it go as far as multiple lifetimes? And as much as might sound like super woo, some of you, for me, it's just super exciting because I like to stay in curiosity. And it's also a freedom that comes with that. It's very easy to, not very, but easier to let go of the outcome, or making the plans, like how things should happen, or in which order, all the things that we've been talking throughout this podcast and since we started last year. You need to date, and then you need to marry, and then you need to, like, none of that, right? If we are here to create the life that we want and how we want it, this component, relationship, it's no different. Have the same principle and we get to apply the same things. It's just a new thing that I discovered through this process of how do I apply, like, let it go of the outcome and stay present into the process and enjoy every minute and every day as much as I can, trusting and believing that I'm going to get to the outcome that is just the right outcome for me. So when coming to discovering and experiencing a true connection with another human, today makes sense to me that we are connected in space. I don't know how far beyond the stars, but we also get to be connected in time, which includes the future. So how do we expand that? As we go through it, do you see the bubble? Are you still with me with the bubble? As we go through it, we move those energetic bubbles and we move the future as well. And what allows my brain to be engaged into this process, into this vision, is giving the examples from the past. Like, if this is true, if this idea, the way that I see it, how can I enroll my brain into it to come along into this process, is to going back and collect the evidences to the point is like, oh, remember that relationship and how connected we are and how long it lasted, and then make it understand what did it stop, because the disconnection happened in that part and the disconnection happened in the other one, and the disconnect here, disconnect here, disconnect here. So the bubble gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So also the whatever period of time was projected by our initial energy into the future, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it reaches us. And we are like in own bubble, no connection. So the relationship was over. So I'm here to tell you that if and when in a relationship and you feel this connection beyond the present passional moment, and you find a connection in so many different pieces, to find your bubble. For me, it's a bubble, but find your bubble and imagine this energetic field that you have around you and the other person has around them, and how much they overlap. And then how much like passion and love and joy and excitement, right? That all the good feeling emotion on the upper scale of the emotions we could put into this bubble, because what that is going to do is going to expand it more and more and more in space and in time. So that's where I'm at today. I am very curious to go back to this recording and actually watch it and listen it myself to see how everything come out. I'm gonna trust that what is it for you to receive, it's there. And I am so curious to know how this landed for you. Just leave it in the comments, or if you feel more comfortable to let me know on the private channels, you know where to find me. Just email me directly to transformation@simonaspark.com. And until next time, I just want to wish you an amazing day, a fabulous week, and invite you to dare to live a bare lifestyle. I will see you next time. Thank you for tuning in today. I would love to hear from you. What inspired you? What triggered you? And what interests you? Please join the conversation by leaving your comments and your insights. Explore more about Bear Experience at simonaspark.com/bear. I hope you listen, follow, rate, and review all of our episodes. I can't wait to have you back. Till then, be Bear. Beautiful, authentic, real, and ever evolving.